8 stages, and I collapsed and went to the intensive care, and I had this all blood and everything in my body, and everybody was concerned. But I knew it's not time yet. The most important is left. And I recovered after 10 days in intensive care quite quickly. And 2 friends of me took me into their home, so I didn't have to be with my children and family. And then I asked what the cancer wanted to tell me. And it said, be who you are. Receive yourself. And I haven't done that. And then it said, you go to Finland. The 3rd week in April. And I looked in the program, and that was the program I knew. Miranda, that's McPherson, but she came, and I was the first one on the chair. And then I got the confirmation, be who you are, radiate. So thank you.
Bless you, thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Yes, me too. I had a cancer when I was half the age I am now, and it was the greatest blessing in my life, and it took me on a long journey. It took me about 10 years to sort of sort myself out from that one, but I was miraculously cured from it. The doctors couldn't understand what happened, and but it was the most beautiful experience. I would never be what I am now without it, and I know that I created it because I was so unhappy, and the purpose was to make me happier, much happier, and that has happened.
Thank you, Joanna. That's lovely.
Hello, Sylvia, dear. I want to share a funny part of Sylvia's healing, a little bit funny, but also has a I think a meaning. During her latter recovery, I actually lived and shared house with Sylvia.
Wonderful friend.
Yeah. And when she went to South Africa, I stayed in the house, and probably only 2-3 days after she left, suddenly in February, it's pretty cold in Scotland at that time, the electricity went off. And I knew we had enough oil, and I knew there wasn't that kind of a problem. It was late in the evening in a weekend. I didn't really know who to connect. So in the living room there was this kind of an electrical fireplace. My mattress that I was sleeping on was really heavy and big, so I looked to Sylvia's room and thought, okay, I'll drag her mattress over to the living room and I'll sleep on that mattress and get the electricity sorted the next day. The minute I laid down on that mattress, I knew, okay, angels or whatever they had been had organized this, because I was transmuting and clearing that mattress the whole night, or my soul, or the angels, or whatever. So it wasn't the intention for Sylvia when she came back from South Africa. She was not going to lay on a mattress that had absorbed her suffering. So, spirit works in strange ways sometimes. And the next morning, the electricity came on by itself. There was nothing wrong with the electricity. So I just wanted to share that one too. So something about, yes, suffering does also, get absorbed to the physical, level. And that also needs clearing. So thank you.
How's that for a friend, eh? Thank you, Michaela.
I'm a witness to cancer. I lost my husband to cancer. when he was diagnosed with cancer, he was also diagnosed as terminal. So we knew right from the very start that he was going to die. I'd also received guidance some time before that I was going to lose him. And I don't really want to go into what happened during those 2 years because it was very, very traumatic. He had a cancer of the nervous system and he had unlimited morphine for 2 years. He got ill very quickly after diagnosis and he had to finish work. But it was what happened for him during those 2 years. He was an accountant and he had a very busy mind and liked fine detail and plan. He was a planner, plan to the nth degree. Drove me mad. But he had a lot of time on his hands. His vision was very poor once he became very ill. And he couldn't cope with the television and sometimes he would play music. But he sat and reflected on his life. And he spent those 2 years healing his life. And when he left, he was in the hospice at the end. He was conscious 10 minutes before he actually died. And I saw his spirit leave his body. And he was just beautiful when he left. He had nothing else to do. And after I left the hospice to go home after he died and inform family, as I was driving home, the skies were darkening to the point of blackness, and this was in the middle of the day. And as I drove into the village, the heavens opened and we had a huge thunderstorm. And the lightning was right outside my house and hitting the ground. And it lasted for about 20 minutes. And then it passed and the sun came out and the sky was blue. And I was told to go for a walk. And so I went down to the forest and the droplets were dropping off the trees and the sun was shining on the droplets. And a voice said to me that the trees were weeping at his passing. And it was a beautiful moment. And then I had to go back to the hospice later to collect the death certificate. And when I walked into the hospice, I hadn't realised that his energy filled the hospice. And when I went there, it wasn't there. And it had completely gone, and that was quite a surprise to me. He was quite remarkable. And he did everything. He signed everything over to me, the house, the car, any savings we had. He completed his tax returns. He did everything. He got rid of everything. All he had for himself when he died was 2 pairs of pyjamas, a dressing gown, and a razor. Everything else, his clothes had gone, books, his life's work, all gone. And he couldn't do it himself, but he gave me instructions, and I followed his instructions. So I just wanted to share the other side of cancer as a witness.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Very brave. Thank you. Sorry, we have one there. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Not even a week ago, they told me I have cancer. So Thursday afternoon last week, the second genealogist, oncologist, was telling me, I'm going to do these and these steps with you. I said, yeah, that's okay, but on Saturday I want to leave to Scotland. he said, "Oh, Scotland, wonderful. I had my honeymoon there." Yes, of course. We walk around it. The day before, Wednesday evening, I had been bleeding for 2 hours. So that's how I came to the hospital. After that was the first genealogist was a woman. She was totally sweet. It was like some people also said, you said the medical staff, you know, 3 days before I was in a sort of whining moment, saying, "Why do I never see you?" And I was in the hospital and I saw them through the people around me, working for me, with me, especially the women. Then the next day I got this verdict. I went back to my room and I had a good contact with another patient, a man. I came into the room, he said, hi, everything under control. He just had a heart attack the day before. I said to him, "Do you think that's the right way, right word?"
Yes.
I went up to him, I took his hand, and I said, "I have cancer." And then I spoke to my sister and my cat sitter. And then we got dinner or whatever, some food. And then I got a frenzy. And I ran through the corridors and I said, "I don't have cancer. I don't have cancer. It's not cancer. It's a warning of my body or something. It's a message." Because 2 years ago I started to spot. And I did a regression session on it, and I found I was spilling life energy